Good morning. I'm James Brierton in Charlotte. It is Saturday, March the 12th, 2022. Coming up on 9:45 this morning, and we have been watching a strong cold front and a line of thunderstorms moving across the Carolinas. And at this hour, we have a whole line of severe thunderstorm warnings indicating storms capable of producing damaging winds. And this is all along the North Carolina and South Carolina coast, as far south at this hour as Myrtle Beach. So essentially, right now, from the Virginia border all the way down the North Carolina coast, about to come into places like New Bern and Jacksonville and Wilmington, and then down across the border, just now exiting the Myrtle Beach area, we have these yellow polygons that indicate severe thunderstorms. So we don't have any tornadoes right now, and that's something we've been monitoring for during the overnight hours. But what we do have are these yellow polygons for severe thunderstorm warnings for storms that are capable of producing damaging wind. Let's start here in Myrtle Beach, just north of Myrtle Beach in the Wilmington area, where we have gotten a couple of initial reports out ahead of the line of wind damage associated with the advancing storm. And here in the next few moments, we are watching also some things coming in off the side of my screen as well too. So here in Myrtle Beach, in the next few moments, we're going to get this line that has been pushing all night long off to the east. So if you live in places anywhere else in the Carolinas, chances are you probably were awoken in the middle of the night due to the heavy rain, and this is where that line is now. If we switch this over to look at velocity, which will give us an idea of the winds associated with this storm, you can see that the radar estimates are showing us winds well over that 60-mile-per-hour criteria that we would need in order to have what the Weather Service does consider a severe thunderstorm warning. So this storm here comes with a hazard of 70-mile-per-hour winds capable of damaging trees, mobile homes, roofs, and outbuildings. It's going to be in Wilmington here in the next few moments. As we're continuing to keep an eye on things this morning, we can actually head on over. We have a camera in the Wilmington area. We can get a look at what some of the conditions are like there this morning, and you can see this weather stem camera as let's try that again here. See if I can get that to load. This camera was bouncing all over the place when I had it off in my little preview area. Okay, we'll try to come back to that in just a moment because off screen in preview that was playing just fine until I tried to load it on up. So we'll try to get back over to that here in just a moment. A lot of these thunderstorms have a particular tag associated with them, where the National Weather Service can add what conversationally may sound like a hashtag onto it that says these storms are capable of producing a tornado. Again, we don't have any tornado warnings right now associated with any of these storms, but the Weather Service is kind of giving us a precursor to say, hey, this is possible here in the next little bit. All right, let's get you back out now to radar and show you some of the other places along the coast. We do have a tornado watch that is up for this very same area from Myrtle Beach up north through portions of North Carolina, all along this coastal region. If you are off to the west of this particular line or this location, you are in the clear here for the rest of the day. So let's take a look here at Jacksonville. Again, we're getting reports coming in via MPing. Thank you to everyone who actively participates in MPing, letting us know that these winds are tossing around lawn furniture and trash cans, small twigs as well. Not too surprising when you consider that Doppler estimated winds here associated with this line of thunderstorms coming into Jacksonville in the next few moments. This is showing radar estimated winds of about 90 miles an hour. Of course, that's cutting a little bit higher than the surface, so it's probably a little less than that at the surface, but still strong enough winds here that the National Weather Service once again has in their polygon text for that severe thunderstorm warning, putting the hazards at 70-mile-per-hour winds. Just to give you an idea of how that compares to your run-of-the-mill severe thunderstorm warning, a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings will warn for 60-mile-per-hour winds. That's the minimum criteria. So when you think of a severe thunderstorm warning, you're probably thinking of about 60-mile-per-hour winds. This is a notch heavier than that. It's 70 miles per hour coming in to Jacksonville here in the next few moments. Working our way north, you can see this line now is extending itself coming through the New Bern area. And you can see we have quite the divergence as this line comes on through. And this is where the winds are going to be the heaviest as they are marching through, associated with this line, which again is with a cold front that is going to be dropping down temperatures into the 20s in many places in the Carolinas by this time tomorrow morning. And even back in western North Carolina in the mountains, we've got snow on the ground. So it is multiple seasons happening today simultaneously in the Carolinas. We do have some other cameras I'd like to try to get to if I can get them to load here, all along kind of the outer rim of northeastern North Carolina. So let's start first, see if I can get that Wilmington camera to load again. That would be fabulous. And again, we'll continue to keep an eye on this line. And I cannot get that Wilmington camera to come back up. That is disappointing. So we do have an updated severe thunderstorm warning just issued by the National Weather Service here for counties including Camden, and also extending into the city of Chesapeake and the city of Virginia Beach area. So that is right on up in here. And you're going to actually see this polygon in just a moment once the computer system gets updated, kind of extend outward here as this line continues to push off to the east. The details of this severe thunderstorm warning, much like the other severe thunderstorm warnings in proximity to it, is for this line of severe thunderstorms that is extending from, in this particular location, Prince Anne to northeast, moving northeast at 65 miles an hour. The main theme here, of course, is that you can expect damage to trees, damage possible to mobile homes, roofs, and outbuildings. So if you have some smaller buildings, you may have, of course, also furniture and things that will be blown around in association with this storm as it continues to move off to the east. Here in the next hour or so, the line will have pushed far enough offshore that it won't be an immediate concern of ours anymore. But we are seeing here in the last kind of grips of this storm, the way that it is really kind of holding on tight, because it made it across much of the Carolinas this morning without necessarily prompting the weather service to issue any warnings. So where I am in Charlotte, sure enough, we heard the line come on through, but it wasn't until it got to that I-95 corridor that the National Weather Service began to actually issue warnings and watches associated with the line. And that's where we are now, coming up on the 10 o'clock hour on this Saturday morning, as you're watching live weather coverage here on the Carolina WeatherNet, streaming for free anyplace you watch YouTube. So we're glad you're here. We know many of you have been watching the radar and the current conditions all morning long on our Carolina WeatherNet. Again, so we're watching right now this line that is extending all along the Carolina coast. And what we're going to do here is I want to show you the impacts from some of the initial storm reports that are already coming in now in association with this storm. And these do tend to lag a little bit behind real time. And that is purely because the National Weather Service will first and foremost focus on getting out real time warnings. And then they'll use these storm reports that you may send in as a storm spotter, the media may send in, or emergency personnel may send in to help them verify what's happening on the ground. So, starting in Wilmington right now, again, this is one of those major population areas where the storm is now approaching. This is, again, just a severe thunderstorm. We don't have any tornado warnings at this time, but we are monitoring for the possibility of some of those. We do have 59-mile-per-hour winds here at the Johnny Mercer Pier. We also have 68-mile-per-hour winds reported at Wilmington International Airport. I mean, just to kind of, again, give you perspective on this, those are winds that would be equivalent to a tropical storm. And they are above and beyond what is required at a minimum by the National Weather Service to issue a severe thunderstorm warning. Here in Hampstead, we have a large tree down along Washington Acres Road. We have another large tree down here as well in Old Point on the roadway. Making our way a little bit further south there, Oak Island, 34-foot station here, reporting 72 mile per hour thunderstorm wind gusts thanks to weather flow, making our way into South Carolina. You can see in the last little bit, Myrtle Beach coming in with 60-mile-per-hour winds gust at WMBF station television broadcast facilities there as well. Another weather flow station for you at 62 miles an hour. So you can see that we are, by all means, meeting that criteria for a severe thunderstorm warning. Making our way into Charleston right now, where we don't have any warnings active. Earlier this morning, you can see 55-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Technically, just a little shy at that location of a severe thunderstorm warning, but we certainly met it elsewhere across the area at Folly Beach with 63 miles an hour reported here. And in North Charleston, just shy of 60 miles an hour as well, too. Speaking of Charleston, welcoming in Jared Smith. You guys are clear of any warnings right now, Jared, but we were just looking at storm reports, which showed that you guys had some of those 60-mile-per-hour winds earlier.
Oh, to put it mildly, 63 miles an hour in the harbor there at Isle of Palms. And I don't know if you've seen some of these pictures of the
No, not yet.
The container. So the Wando Bridge and Don Holt Bridge on 526 is closed. We've had numerous reports and numerous instances of containers falling off of the side of trucks, one of which hit a parked police car and then bounced 300 feet down into the Wando River.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes. We have been having, so 526 bridges are closed. So that connects like North Charleston to places like Daniel Island and Mount Pleasant. So that basically that entire eastern lobe of 526 is closed because of it's a mess. It is a total mess. So you're going to want to look for, so Skycam's around the Daniel Island exits, the Wando Bridge. Oh boy. It's quite a thing.
It's kind of quiet out there right now as I'm previewing some of these cameras, trying to find a good one to put on the air because, as you alluded to, it is closed. There's no traffic.
Yeah, and so we're dealing with that rain. I mean, the sun's out at my house. So
yeah, once that line comes through.
I mean, and again, it was one of those situations where the rain. That is going to be quiet. You may see some of the stuff they need to clean up there in the distance, but yeah, rain is excellent. Yeah, I don't know if they're going to have a camera right at where they are. I don't think the angles are that good, but you can see. I mean, you can see that's. Thank God it's Saturday.
Sure.
Because this would be a much bigger problem if this had happened yesterday, but certainly a tough situation right now. If you're going to be going to Daniel Island, the only way there is Clements Ferry Road. So that's basically an access road.
Oh, here we are.
Yeah, so there you go. There's one right there. Yeah. So
that looks like a container truck on its side.
Yeah, and there's going to be and there's been quite a bit of that today. We have seen quite a bit of that during the day today. So it's kind of it's been storms haven't done anything here. Like we've barely gotten rain. Like I don't think that even everybody's going to see measurable rain from this event, but it has been the winds that have been outside of it that have been the problem.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and that's the reason we finally came up on air this morning a little after 9:30 is because, a lot of times people will set their weather radios to trigger for a tornado warning, or we'll flip on the TV when there is a tornado warning. But what we're seeing, of course, is these severe thunderstorms capable of producing purely wind damage, and we didn't want that to, quote unquote, go under the radar. As we can see scenes like the one we were just showing you of container trucks blown over there in Charleston. I'll get you back out to radar here for a moment as we are continuing to track this line of severe thunderstorm warnings, which has now cleared the Charleston area. but is continuing now to come into Wilmington, in the heart of Wilmington right now. It's going to be over Bald Head Island and Carolina Beach in the next few moments. You want to just head inside of a sturdy structure. We don't have any tornado warnings associated with this storm, but what we do have is the capability of some of those 70-mile-per-hour winds, which really does give you an idea that these winds would be ones like you might see during a tropical storm. So things are certainly going to be blowing around, and you want to make sure that you're in a safe place to protect yourself from any blowing debris, or in a sturdy structure as well. So again, update on this line right now. It's coming into Wilmington, coming into Carolina Beach. It's exiting the Myrtle Beach area. It is coming through Jacksonville right now, and you can see that the heaviest of rains are coming through Half Moon and about to be in that metropolitan area. You can also experience this coming out of Plymouth and coming out of Washington. You guys are on the back end of this. East Carolina University as well. You're on the clear side of this because it's about to now come into so the Outer Banks, the coastal regions, stretching from Virginia Beach across the North Carolina border through Corolla, through Jarvisburg, South Shores, Kill Devil Hills. This will be coming your way here in the next few moments. And if I switch this over just to look at the radar depicted winds,
you can certainly see, that low level jet is screaming.
It really, really is. And really what I wanted to see is there are a couple kinks in the line where we are still watching for the possibility of a tornado, and it is still possible as we continue to have a tornado watch out. Weather Service sees that potential there. But again, folks, we're getting reports of overturned trucks. We're getting reports of damaged tree lines, and that doesn't require a tornado. The wind is wind in this case, and that's why Jared and I are now on the air with you. And Jared, I mean, you and I kind of both were at the ready during the overnight, and we kept waking up and looking over and going, still no warnings. Still no warnings. I mean, it made it till about the I-95 corridor, if I'm not mistaken, before the line really met the criteria for any type of warning.
Yeah, and again, that was instability was always going to be a question in this. That is typically the problem that we have with these storms. And once again, this morning, the instability did not pan out, at least in South Carolina and points further back. There was the enhanced risk further towards the Gulf Coast. And again, what we see a lot of times when we get that southwesterly flow out of the Gulf Coast, and that's kind of parallel to and it's parallel to the front, oftentimes you'll get that convection along the Gulf Coast, and that will kind of spoil things downstream. So not had a lot of instability to this point. Now we've had an hour or two of insulation. I'm going to take James, if you want to take me full real quick, I can kind of show you some of the differences here with the observations too. So I've got a regional radar view. Again, James just went over the radar with you, but you can see the differences in temperature at this point. I mean, now we're getting into the 70s, the upper 60s. Dew points are 65, generally around 65, 67. There's probably a couple 70s dew points in here somewhere. Let me switch to that real quick and see if I can. There's that. And there's that. So you can see the dew points there. Very, very humid air ahead of that line. And then behind it, the whole thing crashes, right? Like we're in the 50s now in Columbia. 68, it was 70. I mean, it was 70 not long ago in Charleston. This is as warm as it's going to get today. When you're going out this afternoon, you're going to need a jacket. You're going to need a windbreaker, because again, the other thing is that behind this, the winds are also going to kick right back up. Certainly not to the degree that we saw ahead of the front, but still wind advisory stays in effect for much of the area through about 6 o'clock for wind gusts. Still 40 miles an hour, certainly possible through 6 p.m. So again, looking at this is a pretty wide swath of areas that, and keep in mind, you see this slightly darker orange on my screen here. This is a considerable damage, considerable tag issued by the National Weather Service inside of the warning for 70-mile-an-hour winds. So, again, the good news is that this is moving very fast. This is going to be over before you know it in eastern North Carolina, but it's going to be a little rough before then.
Jared, you mentioned the fact that temperatures are only going to get colder from here, and anyone who has a home garden, anyone who's a farmer, now is the time to get out and take those precautions for that deep freeze that will be occurring overnight. My wife is a new gardener here at home. She bought a freezing cloth just for this occasion. She did not previously own one. She waited for the rain to come on through so it wasn't wet. And here in the next few moments, so she hasn't already, as we are at 43 degrees now in Charlotte and dropping, she's going to go out and try to trap as much of that warm air as she can, warm air, and get that greenhouse effect going much as she can here during the day. We're continuing to watch here. 10:03, James Brierton in Charlotte. That was Jared Smith in Charleston, South Carolina. We're on the air from the Carolina Weather Net, providing you updates on a line of severe thunderstorms capable of producing damaging winds. And I mean, I shouldn't even say capable of producing damaging winds. Thunderstorms that are producing damaging winds. We don't have any tornado warnings to tell you about, but we do have severe thunderstorm warnings that are above and beyond severe thunderstorm warnings that you may typically associate with storms. And I say that with all due respect to severe thunderstorm warnings. You should take every one of them seriously because wind damage is wind damage. But we are trying to tell you that these are strong, gusty thunderstorms. This is not just, oh, there's a thunderstorm coming, let me go get another cup of coffee.
James, I don't know if you've read off the LSRs yet, but at 9:35, the airport, the Wilmington airport, gusted to 68 miles an hour. So that's verification if I ever saw it.
Right, absolutely. And what we were discussing just before you hopped on was that a storm report like that tells us that we've got winds that are a strong tropical storm force, just shy of a Category 1 hurricane. Just to put that in a perspective for you, especially if you live along the coast, trying to give you something in your brain to compare that to. Misty is watching on YouTube right now from Wilmington, saying the winds are crazy. Power has been going on and off. It's currently 10:04 where she is. She's hunkered down, hoping everyone is okay. And I'm relieved, Jared, to see that folks like Misty are taking this seriously and hunkering down because it really is a scenario where you might want to deploy some of your tornado precautions, such as hunkering down someplace secure and safe in the house until some of these strong winds pass.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's so important too. When you see these kind of these enhanced severe thunderstorm warnings, where you're getting into 70-mile-an-hour winds and stuff like that, as we have been saying all morning, this is it'll it can drive straight line winds can drive things through windows just as easily as a tornado can. So,
County new storm report from coastal Carolina, 64 miles an hour recorded at 9:30, but just in off the wire.
God, that's impressive.
Sorry to cut you off. I'm just reading them as they
come in. No, that's good. That's good. I mean, that's super impressive. We'll see that pop up here on the map in a minute. Oh, yep, there it is. Yeah, I mean,
it's like I knew.
Looks like they've had 64. They had a 64 mile an hour wind gust at 9:27. So it sounds like that is continuing now that you see the line is actually coming through kind of near New Bern and Maysville here. You're starting to see that line get through. And I mean, get ready in Morehead City, Sea Level, Ocracoke, Hatteras. I mean, here it comes. It's going to be, it's going to be it's going to be quite a thing here. Cooler shelf waters may have helped to stop the issues in Charleston, may have, cut down on some of our more severe, kind of the more severe aspect of it. But the thing is that we've also got a low pressure system that's been developing and moving very, very, very quickly to the northeast. So what I'm going to do here real quick is I'm going to turn on the see if I can make this out with the computer analyzed pressure, but I mean, it's
live pictures here for you from Wilmington, North Carolina, courtesy of WeatherStem. You can see that camera bouncing around here at 10:07.
Yep, exactly. And Wilmington, it's almost over for you. For what it's worth, it's almost over for you. The line is getting passed right now. The line is about to clear the coast at Wilmington, and then the winds are going to shift northwest, and you're going to start to get much cooler. James, I think the other thing that we neglect to mention is I saw some pictures out of Hot Springs this morning of a pretty decent snowfall.
Right. I haven't even made it to the west side yet.
Yeah, we haven't even made it there, but I'll tell you what, there's the northwest flow is definitely doing its thing. We've definitely had some snow reports up here. we're gonna go find some pictures and find some cameras from.
Here's Boone, North Carolina, from resort cams. You can see
Yeah.
snowflakes still falling.
Yep, absolutely. And and again, that's that northwest flow getting going here. Our buddy Evan Fisher is definitely a big fan of northwest flow events, and he's got another good sample for his repertoire right here, because this is this is all blowing in. I mean, it's kind of remarkable. I'm looking at some of the LSRs out of Tennessee. I realize this is the Carolina weather group, not the Tennessee weather group, but 10 inches of snow in Campbell County, Tennessee. Wow. I mean, this has got it all, buddy. This has got it all. And we got strong straight line winds to the east. We got snow to the west, and we're gonna have a big freeze tonight. So
yeah, we have live pictures from WeatherStem. If I reset it to show you what it looks like right now back along the coast, this is Corolla Beach.
Let me get a look at that. Yeah, I mean, that's it's not a good day to be out there. Let me put it that way.
No, it's a good day to hunker down and watch Becoming Red on Disney Plus or something. I want to point out the conversation that's taking place right now in our YouTube chat, if I may, Jared. Again, we had Misty watching from Wilmington. We read this comment a few moments ago, but winds going crazy and hunkering down. Nicholas is also watching. He's in New Hanover. He had 40-mile-per-hour winds there in northern New Hanover. That was enough to blow over a fence in the backyard with lots of power outages in the area. Again, that's 40 miles per hour. We're getting reports of 60 or 70 miles per hour in other places. And you can see Misty as well responding back to Nicholas, saying she's right near the airport there. Definitely an impressive system. Stay safe to everyone. Thank you guys for talking amongst yourselves. And that's really what the Carolina Weather Net is all about, right? It's we are all a part of this Carolina weather community.
Yep, absolutely. And then those
Don't
power
go watching
outages.
Disney until we're done here, Misty. Don't turn us off.
Yeah. Hang in there. We'll get you back to that soon. But I mean, power outages are certainly an issue up and down the coast. I mean, we have something around. I'm gonna go look at power outage numbers, but I know that I've gotten reports of power outages not far from me, around Johns Island. Johns Island, I think there's been some power outages in Daniel Island. Again, some sporadic, but some somewhat widespread. Again, we've had much stronger winds towards the coast. I got a picture this morning of somebody was mentioning to me a bird. They have a bird feeder hook, and it had been completely opened up, like it had been. I just got another notification from the weather flow. Let's see here.
While you looking at those reports that you have up on the screen right now, Duke Energy outages. I understand that Duke Energy does not service everyone universally, but as one of the biggest power providers in the region, I wanted to at least start there. And you can see that we do have some particular hotspots coming into like Wilmington right now. About 16,000 people in the greater Wilmington area are out, including large swaths of downtown, Cape Fear, over towards Northwest, off to the north through Long Creek, Rocky Point. So these are some pretty significant number of outages here. About 16,000 Duke Energy customers without power in the greater Wilmington area, and they just kind of got socked by this line in the last few minutes. The line now moving off towards the coast and towards the east, but we still have reports of several thousand customers out without power, even across central and western portions of the state, following the line that came through there during the overnight hours.
We just had a gust of 46 miles an hour in Charleston Harbor at the Chutes Folly weather flow station. Just got notified of that. So still very breezy, to put it mildly. I'm going to share my screen real quick. I'll go over some storm reports from, I mean, look at that. I mean, look at Charleston. I mean, the sun is out temporarily. We're going to see cloud cover fill back in behind that once the cooler air really starts to punch in, but enjoy a little bit of sun before it gets just ridiculously cold.
Before we get too far away from power outages, I want to read this comment that came in from Salty. Power got knocked out here 20 minutes ago east of Charlotte near Albemarle around 7 a.m. Just came back on. It's expected to go out again due to the gusty winds that are supposed to come by here because, this front is going to be with us as we head on through the rest of the day. Sorry, Jared, I keep cutting you off. I'm very excited to see all the comments coming in, including Mike in Surf City. So what do you got up here on the screen for us, Jared?
Yeah, so this is the Dominion Energy map. So Dominion Energy, formerly known as SCE&G, fair bit of South Carolina. We have some power outages in the Columbia area. I'm going to dive into those a little bit. I think these are number of incidents, and then so the clusters are not the number of outages. They're not showing two. It's clusters of the number of incidents.
Right. 2 power
here.
lines down could be
Yeah.
200 people without power. I'm making
Right.
that up, but that's how this scales.
But that's exactly it. And so we have some, we have some. Wow, I mean, the incidents get very specific on this map, unfortunately. But yeah, we get some. We have 76 outages here. I'll zoom back out. I think it'll tell me on the summary side here if it will do that. I don't know. Well, they have 76 active outages with 3,500 people without power in their South Carolina territories. So, so this 3,500 out of 782,000. But if you're one of those 3,500, it's a bad morning. Let's take a look at. Let me turn that off, and what I'll do, I'll also get some of the numbers from Berkeley Electric and some of the other.
So I got a text from our pal Tim Pounds, producer here at the Carolina Weather Group, known for our Carolina panelist playlist series on Spotify, and he lives in the Augusta area, and he's texting me right now at 10 a.m. saying it's still very windy there.
Yep.
And again, that is well back behind where this line of storms is.
Oh, absolutely.
That I'll put back up on the screen too, just so folks know we're not losing track. We're continuing to watch the line of storms right now that does have severe thunderstorm warnings capable of producing damaging wind from Corolla through Kitty Hawk, coming through the Outer Banks, kind of exiting the Jacksonville area, exiting the Wilmington area. We're watching this line. We're not giving you play-by-play necessarily like we would like a tornado warning, because it is just a huge area. Essentially, if you know that you live along the coast right now, you have the chance for these damaging winds, and they could result in the power outages. We're talking about, Nicholas, 16,000 in the greater Wilmington area there.
Yeah, that's quite a bit. That's quite a bit for sure. And then scattered around with Berkeley Electric in the Charleston Tri-County area, they have about I would say quick back in the napkin math, about 98 customers out. So outages a few, far between, but when they are happening, they are they are impactful. And so we definitely, that's one of the reasons why we want everybody to, before one of these, to charge the phones on that. Let me get the I'm gonna switch back over to the radar view, because I want to show, because I've got also the and I've got a little bit of a keying issue there, so I'm gonna have to fix that at some point. But anyway, that's beside the point. You can see how tight. So these isobars. So let's zoom out a little bit. Let's do this first, and let me clean this up a little bit, because there's a lot of storm reports here on there. But you see how tightly packed. So here's your low moving racing northeast. And if you see these isobars, you see these very tightly packed isobars here. This is lines of equal pressure. And when you see them that close together, that is a very, very, very strong pressure gradient. And that means wind. That means a lot of wind. And this is a very potent high pressure moving in. The low is somewhere around 980 something millibars at this point, from what I understand, or 990 according to the model. I'll have to go back. I haven't done a surface analysis since this morning, but the high that's building in is about 1,032 millibars. So that very tight gradient, as that high pressure begins to punch into the area, that is going to that's going to keep those winds elevated, especially with the low-level jet passing by as well. And that low-level jet, I mean, that's going to get out of here soon. It's going to get out of here as the day goes. But as you have warming and mixing and stuff, that can tap into that low-level jet and bring down some gusts from time to time. So, yeah, certainly. Yeah, man, it is. It's it's something, man. This is we've 2022. As I ramble here,
You're about 2022 to get philosophical.
2022 so far seems to have been the year of windstorms. I mean, we basically started the year with a major windstorm down here in Charleston, with a frequent 50, 60 mile an hour gusts, and we're doing it again. Right, we're doing it again right now. So. But yeah, let's get back to the radar here, because we still have severe thunderstorm warnings really just lining the entire North Carolina coast at this point.
Yeah. I mean, look at the Charleston camera.
Yeah, Charleston cameras. Yeah, it's taking a ride. It's going for a ride. Yeah, I'm not surprised by that in the slightest. Again, this threat for severe weather, the traditional,
it's all off. I mean, the actual rain Thank you, Nick, for the $5 tip. Appreciate that support here of the Carolina Weather Net's live coverage. The actual rain and the actual, line of storms right now coming out of Wilmington, Jacksonville, New Bern, and coming through the Outer Banks. But as we've been showing you and talking to you about, that is not the only place where these gusty winds are possible. However, this is the only place right now where we have any warnings in the form of a severe thunderstorm warning. And just to draw this for you, I mean, from tip to tip, this is a severe thunderstorm warning, or if I were to string them all together, how many miles are we talking about here? Almost 200 miles.
Yeah, there's a small break. No, that's not a break. Never mind. It's just a smaller polygon.
Yeah, there's a couple of polygons I'm stringing together, but to give you an idea, we have the threat for damaging winds right now, essentially from Oak Island through Carolina Beach, all along the coast. I'm going to see if I can get maybe the Corolla cam back up. Let's see here.
What I'm going to do here, James, I'm getting set to do a little telestration. So,
okay,
this will be somewhat exciting for all of you, I think.
Yeah. I reprogrammed some of these WeatherStem cameras yesterday, and I didn't do a very good job.
It's all good.
Yeah. So there's a look at a Corolla right now. I know normal severe coverage would feel like we're going street by street, block by block, trying to track like one area of rotation or something along those lines. That's not what's happening here this morning, because it really just is a wall.
We can't do it that way today.
No, that is not the name of the game. As you're watching here at 10:20, James Brierton in Charlotte. That's Jared Smith in Charleston.
Yep.
My phone fell over the floor.
Oh my gosh. It's been a day, to put it mildly.
Well, I'll tell you, I thought we were going to be sitting here earlier in the morning, which
agreed.
May or may not be a critique of us, but it's really more so the fact that this line made it all the way to I-95 before it reached any sort of warning criteria.
Yeah, no, exactly right. And again, we always want to be on guard for that overnight threat. If there's any chance that we could see severe weather during the dark hours, that's the kind of thing that we take very seriously. That's the kind of thing that we get very concerned about, because we do not want people getting caught off guard. We want them to be, we want y'all to be safe and aware and ready for these sorts of things. So what I'm going to do something really weird here, and I'm just kind of doing this on the fly. So,
okay.
Actually, I'm just going to share my screen. I'm not going to do anything in OBS. What we're going to do is we're going to take a look at now. I realize that this is probably not the best sector that we could use. But this is the raw map from this hour here of the observations.
You're going nerdy. You're going nerdy on us.
We're going nerdy. So what we're going to do here is we're going to actually analyze this live. So first of all, sometimes I get a little happy with a pen here. Let's see. So there's a nine. So here, right through here, and you probably see me drawing here. This is a 940 ISO line. Here's a 960 ISO line. So again, and forgive my handwriting, I have a couple things set up for this.
Got a doctor's handwriting.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not a doctor. I went wrong somewhere, but you can see right here, there's your low. You have a good bit of low pressure there, but behind it here, when we start to get into, and again, doing this live is something I've never done before. So please be patient.
It's cool that you can tell us straight on that. Yeah.
Yeah. So here's 980 right here. You can see again how tight that is, because when we go to 1000, and I'm just going to shorthand that with 10 or 00 rather, I'm going to shorthand that with 00. You can see, I mean, that's pretty close. And then I'm going to do 02. And so again, what I'm trying to do here is I'm just tracing through the lines of equal pressure. You can see how tight that is. And then I'm doing every 2 millibars. Okay. That's tight. I mean, that's a lot of wind just in general. But then I'm going to do 04. This is where it's going to get crazy, guys, because the map I show you was computer generated. This one I'm doing by hand, which gives you a little bit more precision. So there's 04. Now let's do 06. There's not really any 06 observations on here, so I'm going to need to interpolate this. Whoa, look at that. I mean, and then do 08. And I'm going to have to snake it through here. We're not to 10 yet. There's a spot where I can drop down a little bit. But the tightness of these isobars, I mean, that's where you know that this is quite a I'm already out of room. Like I'm doing the 1010 and I'm trying to draw the line so it doesn't hit the 1017. So just to give you a general idea of kind of what we're what we're dealing with this pressure gradient. I mean, and if you're looking for your front, and if you're looking for your front, I'm going to switch layers here. I use a program called Procreate. It's mostly designed for like really pretty art, but I use it for analyzing weather maps. And I like to make a new layer. And then what we'll do is I have special, I'm so nerdy. I made my own special brushes for this sort of thing. So if you're looking for your cold front right now, it's about right there.
Right, because we can see on your observations the temperatures as well as the pressure, and just showing how cold things are back behind that line. It just went black on us, by the way. Actually, I think you were changing layers or something.
Oh, yeah, I was changing layers. Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm frozen. I think I'm frozen, actually.
That's weird. Exactly sure.
I don't know. Can you see me now? Is it working now? I don't know what's going on.
Are you the Verizon guy?
Yeah. No, my system is completely crashed.
All right. Well, I'll let you take a look at that. I'll pop radar back up full here for a moment. Let people know what it is we are continuing to watch here. And it is that continued line of severe thunderstorm warnings all along. Len watching in Virginia telling us he's got some flooding going on there. You can see out ahead of that cold front that Jared was just talking to you about, we have that line of heavy rain. But again, the threat is really the winds. And if I ask the radar to give me its best interpretation of what's happening, you can just see some of these gradients, some of these wind gusts. The wind gusts are also coming in the form of storm reports. Every one of these little circles is something the Weather Service has confirmed via its partners, or that you have relayed to them via MPing, that indicates some sort of tree down, some sort of wind damage. We had a report earlier from, I think it was Nicholas watching here on YouTube, that 40-mile-per-hour winds had taken down a fence in his yard. So when we were talking about the details of what is in this giant severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect for Jones and Craven, Hyde, Dare, Onslaught, Beaufort, Terrell, Carteret, Pamlico counties. This is for 70-mile-per-hour winds. Expect considerable tree damage. Damage is likely to mobile homes, roofs, outbuildings. Again, trees, I think, are going to be bringing down power lines associated with any damage that the tree itself receives. But this severe thunderstorm line extending all along the coast of eastern North Carolina right now, moving east at 20 miles an hour with winds capable of 70 miles an hour. As I'm my camera back up full, I'll prepare to take you back out to a WeatherStem camera that comes to us in Corolla, and you can see right now conditions out there a little bit on the surprisingly calmer side, or they just did a great job mounting that camera, which is possible. But I do have another camera I want to bring to you at ECU Coastal Studies that is bouncing around in the winds out there along the coast, and we'll go ahead and get that picture up here on the screen for you. Take a look at this, Jared. Another WeatherStem camera right here along the coast, just showing the winds that are ripping.
Oh wow, yeah, that's a classic. That's a classic strong severe thunderstorm visual. I mean, that's whipping. I mean, that is not a place to be right now. I mean, if we're going to apply some of the things that we learned from the spotter class on Thursday night, and if you weren't there, you missed a really good class. I mean, I'm trying to see. I mean, there might be so much rain I can't even do a Beaufort scale analysis here. So, I mean, and yeah, I mean that is, I mean that's whipping real good. I mean, maybe Beaufort 3 or something like that. I mean, 3 or 4, somewhere in there. I mean, that's impressive wind. So yeah, if you learned anything from our spotter class, you may be able to, maybe that's the game we need to play. Hey, what estimate of wind is this
Right.
in the comments?
Yeah, I'm so glad that WeatherStem has their network of cameras out there. And this particular one, I mean, look at those trees. They are just being pushed over by the winds. You can see
Mhm.
visibility is poor because of the rain that is falling at the same time. Again, this is ECU Coastal Studies Institute via WeatherStem. This is just south of the Kill Devil Hills area, along the coastal areas of eastern North Carolina.
Mhm.
Incredible images that I think really drive home the point of the threat associated with the severe thunderstorm warnings this morning.
Yeah, you do not want to be driving in this. As you can see, if we're kind of taken aback by the fact, just looking at it on a webcam, imagine what it's like looking at it from a steering wheel of a car. So we're going to urge folks that if you are if you've got these storms, just hunker in, just hang out,
Yeah.
give it some time. It's going to be over real fast, which is the good news. So hang in there. And just give it a little time. Let this stuff pass. It'll ease up pretty quickly. In fact, it already looks like it's trying to ease up a little bit.
It's coming almost in spurts. I've noticed the
Yeah.
visibility coming and going, which is a good reminder. Just
Mhm.
don't get fooled by it. Winds right now, 46 miles per hour, gusting up to 61. And that is right at this camera. These weather stations come with real-time observations. Again,
Mhm.
winds sustained at 45, gusting up to 61 miles an hour at a rain rate currently of 4 inches an hour. The
Yeah.
rain won't fall for an hour, but that's just the rate at which it is coming down.
Yeah, it's impressive. I mean, it's coming down real well. I'm going back through some of my mentions here. I'm going back through some of the photos that I've seen. I'm going to show you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and pull in. I'm going to hopefully the mirroring my iPad again will not cause the system to crash like it did last time.
Hopefully not.
That was fun, and by fun I mean not fun. Although it was very funny that you could hear me. But that's yay. So anyway, I'm pulling this back up here real quick, and I want to show you all just some of the damage reports that we've gotten through Twitter. Um, there, all right, and then I got to share my screen.
Yes, please.
New procedure. Got to get used to a little new procedure. I just got this reflector app the other day, so I can do exactly this. So you should now be seeing. Yeah, you should be seeing my screen here. Let me turn that on. So this is at the Daniel Island News on Daniel
Oh,
Island.
wow.
Yep, that got ripped down.
I believe it's just called the Daniel Is now.
Yeah, the Daniel is. This is. Let me see. Here's a video. Well, the Weather Channel, I think they licensed that one, so I can't use it now. But you can see I get a lot of reports in here. Got a lot of reports in here. I'm gonna try and pull that. I want to pull that Charleston PD image of the. Yeah, here we go. So here is the police car. I mentioned the container that bounced off of the police car. This is the police car. The officer was working a disabled vehicle on the Wando Bridge at the time that this happened, was not in the car. Everybody is okay. But my goodness, man.
Hats off to everyone who is on the front lines of keeping us safe. They don't have the option of staying in during these storms. I'm very, very happy to hear everyone is okay. Those pictures are very scary.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, here's another. I mean, we just Joey Sovine at Channel 5, WCSC down here in Charleston. I mean, here's another look at the Wando Bridge. Nothing on it. The Wando Bridge is closed. In fact, I just got a question: is the Don Holt still closed? And I would say that is still very much a thing. Just the latest screenshots there. Let's see what we can. There's a random. There's a tweet from Rob Fowler there. Let me see what else I can find. Here's Rob Fowler's Nest Cam. Yep, nice and sunny. It's just so crazy. This is so crazy. Yeah, so certainly, certainly quite a bit here that to to monitor this for sure. It's going to be a busy morning. It's going to be a disruptive morning. Continues to be a disruptive morning in eastern North Carolina. I think right now the area is most under the gun. Morehead City, sea level, Ocracoke, Hatteras. You're really about it. Those areas are really about it for this line. Then that line swings through. You might get some brief clearing, and then it's going to cloud back over once the colder air starts to move back in. I'm also watching the 1 minute observations from the satellite on another screen over here, and just kind of peeking at that, and that continues to be the case. So, oh boy.
Jared, good news, bad news. We have only one warning currently up across the Carolinas. Bad news, it's a big warning. It is a severe thunderstorm warning stretching from Kitty Hawk throughout the Outer Banks down towards Jacksonville, North Carolina right now for this continued threat of damaging winds associated with the advancing cold front and the line of storms. It goes for another 10 minutes. Winds capable, again, 70 miles an hour, moving east at 20. That is the only quote-unquote active warning. But I hope folks are getting the impression that even outside the warning, we've got gusty winds.
Yeah, and again, I think that this is this really kind of nails the point home, is that this is the area now that is most likely to see the enhanced 70 mile an hour winds,
right?
At this point, so that is where. This is where we're concerned right now. This is our main area of concern. And again, I'm looking at some of the observations there. 75 at Hatteras, 71 at Morehead City. That is not going to be that way for very long. And this line will get through. And keep in mind too, I think the other thing to call out too is that there is still a tornado watch in this area as well. We have a severe thunderstorm warning. However, with lines like this, sometimes you can get little kinks in the lines, and you can have quick spin-up tornadoes, and we don't want to see that. We hope that does not happen, but understand that is a risk with these, especially with given just such plentiful wind energy, and and with these, we call them QLCS tornadoes. I think we could call them something probably a little bit saner for people, but it is what it is. So with these QLCS tornadoes, what can happen? They spin up very quickly and they spin down very quickly, sometimes in between radar scans. So,
yeah, and the Weather Service has been putting into a lot of their warnings this morning a tag that kind of is a preliminary. This storm is capable of producing a tornado, not to the level that they've issued a tornado warning. We haven't had any of those so far here in the Carolinas this morning, but Jared and I have been watching some of these preliminary kind of cues to let us know that they're watching some of these areas for potential spin-ups. So, boy, we've got the wind, but again, wind is wind, and we're on the air this morning tracking really what are severe thunderstorm warnings. Something that you don't necessarily always see live coverage of severe thunderstorm warnings because it has reached a particular threshold, as I think you've seen this morning, that these storms are particularly capable of producing damaging conditions.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I'm going to do, I'm making a couple tweaks real quick over on the other end here, but I'm going to go to the analyst program here. Show you all the rotation product is my I think all right, which way can I position? Maybe I'm too bright. That's kind of funny. Isn't it ironic, don't you think? So apologies for some of the key
we do so many broadcasts at night that
apologies for the key issues. I'm not used to having light, and this is kind of a new lighting setup too. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take myself off of this, so you're just gonna hear my voice for a minute. But James is gonna go get some coffee because he needs some coffee. I have yet to have coffee today, so this is
I'll bring you a cup, Jared.
I appreciate that. I'll see you in 3 hours. So one of the tools that we like to use is the normalized rotation product. And what this does is show us, it shows us where the spin is in the atmosphere. And you can see there's a very long lobe of spin here. Again, nothing that would call us to say, hey, we've got an imminent tornado here. But certainly you can see that there's a lot of twisting winds right along the line, and there also seems to be a little of a Boeing segment moving into Swan Quarter right now, moving through Swan Quarter, headed towards the coast. So again, Ocracoke, Hatteras, I mean, you guys are Buxton, Avon, you're under the gun here for 70 mile an hour winds from this rather severe thunderstorm. as it races eastward. What are they doing? Let me do the storm motion here. Let me see. Yeah, the line is moving east at 20. So the line itself is not moving very fast, but the individual cells within the line certainly are. Let's take another look down the city. We have, again, we're looking for areas of rotation. We have a lot of shear on the line, but we don't have any signs of like a specific spin up yet. So again, the main concern here right now is straight line damaging winds. Is that there? Oh wow, there's a ship report. What? No. All right, I'm gonna throw that out. But a ship apparently is claiming a 99 mile an hour. I don't buy that. I mean, it's windy, but it ain't that windy.
Is this a moving ship?
It's a ship report as of 10:10 a.m. Temperature 72 degrees, pressure 995 millibars, wind speed 99 from the west southwest. I don't buy that. I don't buy the wind speed. I'm sure it's windy, but I don't think it's 99 miles an hour windy. Not at the surface. I mean, it's certainly, you don't have to go very far up to find winds 80 to 90 miles an hour. You only have to go, sampling with the radar, you only have to go about 950 feet up from the Morehead City radar to find winds coming in at 70 to 80 miles an hour.
Wow.
I mean, this is really getting it done, man. So there you go.
Crazy day. I want to check back in on that camera we have from WeatherStem at the ECU Coastal Studies Institute, and you can see the trees are continuing to blow around. I would say conditions are improved from where they were a few minutes ago, but I would not by any means call them good conditions.
No, certainly better. We can actually see a little bit more of of what's behind those trees. So we were at zero viz with those for a few minutes, but definitely looking a little bit better there.
Now. We've been talking so much about the coast because that's where the immediate threat is. But I also will remind folks that there's another game in town today, and it is a game of winter and snow. And we'll take you back out to live pictures from resort cams of Boone, North Carolina, in the mountains of Western North Carolina. Come on, camera. I can't stall any more than that. There it is. Look, I mean, we got fresh powder continuing to fall in the mountains. And what drew my attention back towards this direction, Jared, was not just the snow that's falling right now in the mountains, but we have fresh MPing reports coming in from the likes of the Triad of continued falling frozen precipitation, not necessarily being picked up right now by this camera, but on radar scope, we were getting reports that you at home are continuing to see the likes of frozen precipitation. So Forest Oaks outside of Greensboro at 10:15, snow or grapple being reported. Making your way off here along Interstate 85 at 10:30. We have another report of snow just outside of Graham here along the I-40, I-85 corridor, which, I don't know, feels a little bit further east than I would have expected it at 10:30. And so that is the other threat. All these freezing temperatures back off now toward the west. So many of us are going to be in the 20s overnight. Snow and grapple continuing to be reported now out towards Asheville. We have an Asheville camera. Let's just say hello and good morning to the folks in Asheville. And I think they've got a fresh coat of snow on the ground as well here as we look from the historic Buncombe County Courthouse, an amazing vantage point to what looks like a peaceful morning, but we all know that we all probably were awoken at some point by the pounding wind and rain.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it's going to still be windy there for a little bit. And, it's tougher to see from this camera, but it's certainly going to be, again, like we were showing earlier, the pressure gradient with strong high pressure building in. It's going to keep, it looks like, I think I saw some flakes right there, actually. Yeah, there's some flakes flying right in front of it. And this is not like Folly Beach Skycam flakes for those of you who have followed along with us over the years. That was fun. It was silly, but it was fun. But yeah, no, those are legitimate flakes. And again, I'm looking at the high resolution radar out of the Raleigh right now. Talking about Greensboro and Burlington, where there's a snow report there, and we do have some very light reflectivity returns showing up. Very, very light. The radar is going to miss a vast majority of these, but around Yanceyville, Roxborough, Stovall, you can see just very, very light returns showing up on the radar here. So yeah, I certainly buy that snow report. It's going to be very light. You have your really nasty weather. Looks like a new warning has been posted. This new severe thunderstorm warning. There's a line of thunderstorms extending from Bodie Island Lighthouse near Hammocks Beach State Park, moving east at 50 miles an hour, 70 mile an hour wind gusts. The warning goes until 11:45 for southeastern Craven, Central Hyde, Central Dare, Carteret County, and Central Pamlico County, all in North Carolina.
Yeah, that is where we are continuing to watch. The threat of severe weather continuing at this hour is right there along the coast of eastern North Carolina. That is the only warning that remains. But as you can see scrolling at the bottom of your screen, it is a large warning with multiple counties inside of it. It will continue now as they've updated it to go beyond 10:45, if I'm not mistaken.
11:45. Yeah.
11:45. Okay,
yeah, they've updated it and they've reboxed it a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
So there's going to be
some. I was having a hard time clicking on the inception of warnings.
Yeah. We got a little warningception going on right now, but you're going to have places like Jacksonville, for example, you were done. Your severe weather threat has ended. Let me see if I can get a few more cities off.
Yeah,
of there.
I mean, Wilmington's in the clear. Carolina Beach is in the clear. Jacksonville, Atlantic Beach here momentarily. It's coming through Newport right now. Atlantic Beach, Ocracoke, it is still coming to you. It has not actually made it to you yet. New Bern is in the process of being cleared. We got a new MPing report from Avon, which has not even had the heaviest of rains yet, showing windy conditions blowing around trash cans and lawn furniture.
Makes sense.
And I would say the threat does remain kind of all along that coastal region right now until we can get on the other side of this.
Yeah, the warning is going to also expire in Kill Devil Hills. So if you're at Kill Devil Hills there, your warning is about to expire. And again, we still have a tornado watch in some spots, but the Weather Service is going to cancel this. They've got the hands full at the moment, but they will cancel this tornado watch once this line gets out of here.
I'll point this out. We do have a special marine warning that is now up off the waters of Corolla, off the waters of kind of the Virginia Beach area. And that is kind of the ocean equivalent of a severe thunderstorm warning. I would imagine anyone who owns a boat at this point probably knows it's not time to be out on the water. But as we're continuing to watch this line move to the east at 20 miles an hour, I will kind of say they did transition that from a severe thunderstorm warning to a marine warning now that it's out over the waters. And since we're in such a coastal area where people do have lifestyles and recreation over the weekends out on the waters, hold off going out on the waters. I think that was self-explanatory, but if not, there.
Not the best weekend for water sports in general.
No.
Unless you got like a really nicely, insulated wetsuit. Not enough for ice fishing, not cold enough for ice fishing, but too cold to do anything really too fun out there. That's for sure. So again, that older warning, the outer ring of warning has since expired, and so now the main threat for severe weather is going to be around Oriental, Morehead City, Ocracoke, Hatteras, Salvo, Engelhard. You're about to get it right now. You're about to get the bookend of that. Swan Quarter, you had a bow echo come through there. It's now on its way towards the Outer Banks proper, and again, winds of 70 miles an hour possible. There is the potential for there's another marine warning also, James, in the here in the Neuse and Bay Rivers until 11 a.m. For waterspouts and wind gusts in excess of 50 knots. And so again, it's a good time to stay in port. Not that you can probably look out your window and figure that out, but I hope. A couple pieces of good news here is that if you're in South Carolina, the worst of the weather is over. You're still going to see some gusty winds today, and we have wind advisories that are out to account for that. Gusts to 40 miles an hour remain possible throughout much of the day until sunset. The last 6 o'clock sunset of the season.
Oh, that's right. We got to change our our clocks tonight.
It's a busy weekend, man. We gotta cover all our stuff. We gotta switch our clocks forward. We gotta lose an hour of sleep on a weekend that I really didn't want to lose an hour of sleep. Do we ever
Right.
want to
Well,
lose an hour of
here's
sleep?
another good reminder, and I think this goes out to one of our viewers on YouTube the other night during our weekly Wednesday night show, Jared.
Yep.
Changing the batteries in your smoke detectors this weekend. Change the batteries in your weather radio.
Yes. It's a good time to do that. Now if your weather radio has a battery meter, mine does. You may be able to you may be able to get away with it, but it is a good opportunity to change those things out. Look, the chances of you needing that smoke detector are very small, but the chances of you being woken up at 4 a.m. by chirp, chirp, chirp. That is reason enough. That is reason enough to change your smoke detector batteries every 6 months. So there you go.
Yeah. No one likes the chirps. But they are there to remind you that batteries need changing. So that's good. James Brierton in Charlotte. That's Jared Smith in Charleston. You're watching live severe weather coverage from the Carolina Weather Group on the Carolina Weather Net, streaming for free any place you watch YouTube. It's a free streaming service for Carolina weather fans just like you. We are watching severe thunderstorms this morning capable of producing damaging winds. Scratch capable. We're watching severe thunderstorms producing damaging winds. We don't have any tornado warnings. If you're just joining us, let me say that. We don't have any tornado warnings, but we do have thunderstorms that are producing damaging winds.
That we do.
We are at 10:50 right here on this Saturday morning.
Yeah, we're at 10:50. Yeah, we're at 10:50, and again, we're kind of we're getting to, the good news is that we're getting towards the end of this. We're getting towards the end of this, and at this point, what's going to happen is that this line is going to clear the coast. What's going to bring the worst winds with it. Again, that local that low level jet is still very much screaming, but is screaming a little bit less behind that. But we've taken a look at some cameras earlier today, and you've seen them bouncing around. Again, to recap, if you're just joining us, the Wando and Don Holt bridges on 526 in Charleston, on the eastern side of 526 kind of like bypass there, closed. Numerous reports and numerous not just reports, but verified instances of containers being blown off of the side of trucks on the way to the port. One container blew off a truck, hit a police car, and then plunged into the Wando River. Nobody was hurt, and thank goodness for that.
And winds are still very gusty there
in
Charleston, even though the line has moved on through. Here is a live look at a camera near the Wando Bridge. And you can see that it's still bouncing around.
There's nothing there. If you're looking to get on and off Daniel Island right now, the only way to do it is Clements Ferry Road. Just give a general idea of where we're at with this right now. You can get at that point after the Don Holt, you can pick up 526. 526 is open, as far as I know, is open on the west side of I-26. So it is. So we're okay. Like if you're in West Ashley, if you're in, you don't have a lot of traffic going in, obviously, because they have 526 closed at Virginia Avenue. But when you get into North Charleston, when you get into West Ashley, 526 is open for business. Just when you get over the bridges, again, some of the overpasses, just slow down and hang on. It's been rather gusty, and when that's going to continue for the next few hours. Maybe not to the degree that we saw this morning. And we've seen 68 mile. We've seen a 68 mile an hour wind gust at Wilmington, 63 mile an hour wind gust in the Charleston Harbor, at the Chutes Folly Weather Flow Station. We've had numerous reports of 40 to 50 miles an hour winds. We've had scattered power outages. We've ran the gamut this morning, and a lot of that was before any of the rain arrived.
That's what's so interesting about this setup. And it's the reason we're not tracking any one particular storm or one particular cell right now, is because it is such just a large swath of area we are watching as this cold front comes on through that is producing gusty winds heavy rain at times, but that's almost taking a back seat to the gusty winds and what will be a cold snap overnight. I mean, we cannot stress enough as we take a look at these temperatures on Jared's side of the screen here. 22 in the mountains, but we're in the 40s. We're in the 30s along the I-85 corridor. We're in the 40s across portions of the Sandhill. Still clinging onto some 50s right now in Columbia and Raleigh, and 60s at the coast, but we are all in for either a hard or a soft freeze as we go through the overnight hours, Jared, and that is going to be potentially devastating to crops.
Yeah, freeze warnings up and down. I mean, anywhere that your weather service office has started the frost or freeze program, there's a freeze warning out for you. It is going to this could rival some of the coldest air we've had all season. Give you a general idea of what we're looking at, and it's March. But March always seems to find a way, and we've been talking about this over the last few weeks. Is that March, for as warm as February has been and historically has continued to be, March always finds a way. And you can see that it's coming. I mean, we're well into the 20s in the mountains there. You can see the snowfall showing up there. We've had a few flakes falling around Greensboro and everything. You're still above freezing at the surface there, but that's not going to be for long. And again, looking towards the coast, 68 in Charleston, 70 degrees at Mount Pleasant, 70 degrees at Myrtle Beach, 67 at Wilmington. That's not going to last, folks. It's going to get colder as the rest of the day goes on. So if you went out this morning and it was pretty warm and it felt kind of humid, that is not how today is going to end up. I promise you. That is not how it's going to be at 1 o'clock. Because you can see that cold air is really starting to crash into I-95. We're down to 64 now in Moncks Corner. I'm going to see if I can lapse this back a little bit. We were as warm as 68, 70 degrees in Moncks Corner before the line came through. So again, that cold air is starting to crash in. And it's only going to get cooler from here. So again, we want people to, one of the biggest weather hazards is walking outside and it's like, oh, I really needed a jacket. And so we want people to make sure that we're here to make sure that you are prepared for that eventuality, that you're going to need a jacket or some such to get through the rest of the day. I know I will.
Yes, and take precautions if you have grown any plants. They are going to be in for a rude awakening tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I know as soon as I get off here, the wife is heading outside to take care of her plants, even here at the house.
Yeah, and I definitely encourage you, and if it's really windy where you are too, you might want to consider, you're going to definitely need to either stake that in, or if you want to set a reminder before sunset tonight, you got to do two things. Before you go to bed tonight, you got to do two things. One, cover your plants. Cover your plants. 2, set your clock forward for all the clocks that don't set themselves. Because guess what tomorrow is? Yay, 7 o'clock, 7 o'clock sunsets. Yay, we're very happy about that. I am a little more questioning the hour of sleep that we're putting into escrow until November, but
I'm in trouble after sleeping on the couch downstairs with Noah weather chat on all night.
Yeah, we just got another. I mean, to give you a general idea of what the winds are still doing, James, down here, a 46 mile an hour wind gust just now reported at Fort Sumter on the Weather Flow Network.
Wow. Thank goodness for the Weather Flow Network.
Hey, I mean, it is an invaluable tool, and it's certainly something that has come in very handy this morning. It's we were able to use that to verify a 63 mile an hour wind gust in Charleston Harbor. Well ahead of any rain. Again, that's the thing that is kind of wild here, is that well ahead of any rain. So, and again, I'm just kind of peeking around still. I mean, we're still at 47 mile an hour wind gust, up to 47 mile an hour wind gust in Chutes Folly, still 42 mile an hour wind gust at Plum Island near James Island. So again, I mean, this has been, the Fort Sumter, that we just got that 47 mile an hour wind gust report there. Isle of Palms sustained 24, gusting to 39. So again, it's gonna be a very windy day. It's gonna be very hazardous to stay on the bridges. So if you're driving anywhere, using any bridges and overpasses, which is a hard thing to accomplish, it's hard not to. In Charleston, I go over at least 2 overpasses if I want to go pick up McDonald's. Like that's maybe less than. I mean, I got to go over an overpass to go half a mile. So that's a hard thing to accomplish. So again, we want folks to be taking it very easy and keep a good grip on the wheel. Not the day to be texting and driving.
No.
Never a good day to text and drive, but especially not today.
As we come up on 11 o'clock here, James Brierton in Charlotte, that's Jared Smith in Charleston, South Carolina, taking a look here at the accumulated storm reports that have come in all throughout the overnight hours. You can see the swath of wind damage, mainly, with a few exceptions, isolated to the Carolina coast. But there is a happier side to all of this. A bit more fun side. If you live in the mountains of North Carolina, I presume you like cold and you like snow, and you got a last look of snow here in Fletcher. A third of an inch of snow fell at about 2,100 feet in elevation. Making our way here, we have about 4,300 feet in elevation, 7.5 inches of fresh snow. What a last weekend to get out and ski and snow tube it is here in March. Sugar Grove coming in with 1 inch of snow. We have Blowing Rock coming in with a third of an inch of snow, thanks to a trained weather spotter. Circle back around to that in just a moment. In Mouth of Wilson along the state line, we have 1/2 inch, and just north of the state line, 2 inches in Piper's Gap. Let's show you right now what it looks like up there in some of those mountain communities, because it is a very pleasant sight for so many folks who do enjoy winter weather, who enjoy fresh snow. You do have some snowpack here in March, and here's a live look at Boone, North Carolina, courtesy of resortcams.com, where fresh snow is continuing to fall slightly along King Street here if you're making your way out and about this morning near App State University. And so, Jared, there is an upside to all of this if you are a winter snow lover. And as we begin to put the wraps on our coverage here this morning, thanks to all of the trained Skywarn spotters who came out on Wednesday night for that free class hosted by us here at the Carolina Weather Group and the National Weather Service in Columbia, South Carolina, offering 2 free Skywarn classes. We had the basic class earlier this week with Chris Landolfi, a meteorologist there at the Columbia office of the National Weather Service. And if you've just fallen in love and you just want to do more, then join us for the advanced class. Become an advanced Skywarn spotter on Tuesday, March 29th at 7 p.m. It is free. It is open to everyone. If you missed the basic class, you're still welcome to come to the advanced class. And you can find a link to register for that in the description of this show, this video, wherever it is you are watching. Again, it's free. It's virtual. Registration, though, is required. And we hope to see another great crowd on Tuesday, March 29th at 7 p.m. when the Carolina Weather Group will once again team up with the National Weather Service to provide Skywarn spotter training. We do it as a refresher to ourselves, but also to bring you into the fold, because you are the eyes and ears, not only for us here at the Carolina Weather Group, but also for the National Weather Service. They can't be everywhere. They can't have equipment everywhere. And so they rely on you to safely report weather from wherever you are. And it becomes a huge critical factor. So many storm reports today reported via Skywarn spotters and folks who are just a part of that broader Carolina weather community. So thank you.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. It's a great class if you're interested in weather. I'll second that. I mean, again, the technology that we've got is as good as it's ever been, but there is still nothing more important than eyewitness accounts of what is happening on the ground. Because no matter how much remote sensing we add, there is no substitute for ground truth. So definitely sign up. That was a great time on Thursday. I really enjoyed it. Looking forward to the advanced class.
Yes, as am I. Well, here's what's going to be coming next your way. If you're watching on YouTube, the Carolina Weather Group YouTube channel, we're going to get you back over to a regular scheduled programming on the Carolina Weather Net, which is available for free any place you stream YouTube, with real-time sky cams, radar, and if there are any warnings, like the one currently scrolling on the bottom of my screen, you will see that scrolling on the Carolina Weather Net. We'll show you some of the best of our weekly show, the Carolina Weather Group, where we interview newsmakers in the weather science and technology community. And then Jared and I will be back along as conditions warrant. But as this cold front now approaches the Atlantic Ocean and begins to move out to shore, and we get into the rest of our weekend, which again is still going to be gusty, is still going to be cold, do stay weather aware, stay safe, and we'll be back on the air as conditions warrant. But the Carolina Weather Net is the place for you, the Carolina Weather fan, to hang out anytime to get the best of our show and live coverage as the weather warrants. Any closing thoughts, Jared from Charleston?
Yeah, and again, as James mentioned, we're it's almost the severe weather part, and the severe weather part is almost done.
Right.
We're getting this, so we're getting the line out to the Outer Banks. It is looking a little bit weaker, which is some good news there. But again, the winds there, it's going to be a pretty windy and rainy situation there for the next 20 minutes or so, 20, 30 minutes or so. But then once that warning clears at 11:45 a.m., that severe thunderstorm warning, you should also be able to get rid of the tornado watch. So your risk for severe weather is coming to an end very quickly. Once this is through, you're done. So you just got to now watch for just the regular wind and the dropping temperatures. Take a jacket; it will be worth it.
Yeah, it's a good reminder. We talk a lot about this during the winter months, and I'll remind folks because it's been a minute. But if you do go out to travel later, take a jacket, take a blanket. If your car were to experience some sort of mechanical issue on the side of the road that left you maybe waiting for a tow truck for a little while and you didn't have heat, you're going to need a way to keep yourself warm. That's a tip we tend to give when people have to travel during snowy conditions. But I mean, we are in for a cold snap tonight, freezing temperatures across the Carolinas.
But the good news is it's March, and so it won't last very long. We're gonna be right back into the 60s and 70s before you know it. So it will be short. And the pollinating will commence, and the
pollen will be back.
Oh, yes.
Well, Jared, thank you for joining me this morning for this live coverage on the Carolina Weather Net, powered by the Carolina Weather Group. We'll continue to keep an eye on things. Thank you at home or wherever you are for watching us here on YouTube. Thanks to those of you who have also financially supported what Jared and I are doing. We are doing this out of a passion and love. We are not paid to sit here. And so we know some of you have tipped us here on YouTube throughout the morning. And we do appreciate that because it helps at least to cover cost of keeping some of these lights on. So we hope you will subscribe to the Carolina Weather Group YouTube channel if you have not already. We are back Wednesday night, if you don't see us before that, at 9 p.m. Eastern with a live Carolina Weather Group show. We'll be talking to Melissa Griffin from the South Carolina Climate Office about ways that you can get involved in weather. We're going to be talking about Coco Ross, another one of the community, the citizen meteorologist programs that are out there, and how you can help the broader weather community reporting weather from your backyard. So Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern is when new episodes of the Carolina Weather Group drop, and anytime streaming on the Carolina Weather Net. Thanks, Jared. We'll check in with you again later.
Sounds good, James. Thanks so much, and thanks to all of you at home. Be safe, and be warm, and we'll see you next time.